Hey everybody, it's officially May and the Calgary Real Estate Board is out with its latest stats. So whether you're a first-time home buyer looking to buy your dream home, thinking about maybe upgrading or possibly even selling your home, let's take a deep dive into what's going on in the real estate market so you can make your next decision with confidence. All right, so the first statistic we're going to look at is the citywide benchmark price. So this is just every type of home and how much the average cost of those houses are right now. And it did come down just slightly from this time last year, and we're sitting at over just 591,000. And again, that is slightly down from last month as well. And what this is showing is that housing prices are starting to stabilize. We're not seeing crazy jumps up and we're not seeing big jumps down. Where we are seeing continued demand in the Calgary area is in detached homes or family style properties. The benchmark price for them is $769,000, which does represent about a 2% year over year increase. Once again, showing continued demand to get into detached homes. But where we're seeing maybe a potential opportunity for some buying is in apartment or row home styles, where we are seeing a bit of a flat year over year price, and they are sitting at about $450,000 for a townhouse or about $336,000 for a condo. And that's just a good sign that we have a balance of supply and a balance of demand in that segment. So the next stat we're going to take a look at is inventory. And as you can see, it has essentially doubled since last year. And what that means is we are starting to come into more of what is normal for the real estate market. And hopefully with this continued increase in our inventory, it's going to take a little bit of stress and pressure off of buyers. And if we pop this up, you can see our month of supply has gone up. We're nearing that 3-month mark, which is a little bit more normal, and that will definitely help to ease bidding wars and give buyers a little more breathing room. And especially where we're seeing it is in those lower price segments. So houses under 500K, we are seeing a real spike in how many of those are available. And that is really, really good for first-time home buyers, because it's the first time in a long time that they've had a lot of choices in what they can buy. Okay, so let's take a look at sales. And for the second month in a row, we did see a pretty big drop in how many properties sold. It represents about a 22% drop from this time last year. And I know a lot of people, if you're paying attention to what's going on, think that this is a sign that it's a really bad time to sell your house and that maybe the real estate market is about to blow up. But really, all we're doing is we're starting to come back into what is more normal for the Calgary real estate market. The last bunch of years really pushed by COVID, easy borrowing, and people wanting to get into bigger homes, we saw massive spikes in sales. But that's not normal. Being in and around this $2,000 to $2,500 sales per month is more what you can expect in the Calgary real estate market. And where we're really seeing a lot of that decrease come from is really in detached homes. They fell about 16%. And again, if we go back to inventory, we haven't really seen a massive spike in detached homes available. So it does make sense that people who are looking to potentially get into a bigger family home, there's less options. So they're just not buying them. Okay, so let's take a look at new listings. And just like inventory, new listings have surged. In April, we had just about almost 3,900 new listings come on the market. That is about almost 14% increase year over year. And this is really definitely a good sign if you're a buyer. It's just giving you fresher options and more choices when you go to look for your new place. But this doesn't mean the sky is falling for sellers either. We are starting to just come into a more balanced market. So the sales to new listing ratios dropped to about 55%, which really indicates that we are in a balanced market. Neither side is really holding any power. For sellers, if you do the work you need to do and price your house correct, it's going to sell, and it's going to sell for what it's worth. And buyers, you just have more choice, and you can take your foot off the panic button, because now we have an opportunity to view more homes and really get you into the property that you've been dreaming of. Okay, and if we take a look at what's going around in the different parts of the city, you can see that just about everywhere except for in the southwest corner, the benchmark price has come down. The east does tend to be a little less expensive than the west, and especially that northwest corner, that is where you tend to see the higher priced homes. So if you're looking for more affordable homes, you can see northeast, east, and the deep southeast are probably your best opportunities, especially for first-time home buyers, a little more opportunity in those price ranges. But if you're looking to get into the bigger, more expensive homes or luxury homes, that northwest with all the valleys and views is definitely where you're going to see the bigger, more expensive homes for the most part. Okay, so let's take a look at what this means for anybody looking to make some moves coming into spring 2025. So if you're on the buying side, things are definitely starting to look better. We now have almost 2.5 months worth of inventory, which is a little more normal, which means if you're wanting to buy a home, there's no longer any need to panic. And especially anybody who's looking at that lower tier homes, first time home buyers, or people looking to downsize and get into condos and row houses, there are way more options than there has been in many, many years. So again, for buyers, what this means is now we take our time, we find the properties that you really want to get into, and we can negotiate. We don't just have to throw numbers at sellers and hope it sticks. We can now go in with things we want and negotiate, ensuring that we get the best deal for you when you buy the house. Okay, so what does this mean for sellers? And I'm sure you've been hearing mostly negative stuff from people if you are talking about listing your home. But really, a balanced market just means it favors the well-prepared. So listings are up, gives buyers more options. So what that means is sellers need to be ready. Your house needs to be clean, inside and out. Curb appeal is so important, especially in spring. That's when houses look amazing. So you want to get your grass cut, your gutters cleaned, and maybe pressure wash the front of that house. Professional photography and virtual tours. Almost nobody goes into a home without seeing it online first, which means if a buyer is at your house, they've looked at the photos, they've done the virtual tour, and they like your home enough to come see it in person. Okay? And then price. I've said it in videos before, and I'll continue to say it as we go. Especially in this balanced market, you need to come to listing with the right price. If you go too high, buyers will ignore it. They have options now. And if the longer your house sits, the more stale it gets, and people will just stop looking at it. So strategically planning your pricing your home, maybe even coming in slightly under what you think your house is worth, will bring in buyers and still maybe get you a multiple offer situation where you can maybe get a little bit more than what you have been asking for. Okay, so let's bust a little myth here, right? So right now what you're hearing is prices are crashing. It's time to wait it out, especially if you're selling. You won't get what your house is worth. But this just simply is not true. The benchmark prices, although the arrow is pointing down, the percentage is minimal at best. Houses are staying relatively stable, which is great for the market, makes it predictable. So if you're looking to sell your home, it's still a good time. You just need to be prepared. And if you're a buyer, waiting it out, not always the best idea. Prices could continue to go down, but they could go up. And we don't really know what's going to happen with interest rates on mortgages. Right now, they're pretty good, but there's no real clear sign whether they're going to drop drastically or maybe even go the other way and go up. So myth busted. It's not a good time to wait. If you want to buy and or sell your home, balanced market is a good time to do it. All right, so that's our look at what's going on in the Calgary real estate market. So whether you're looking to buy or you're looking to sell, right now is a great time. Spring is the best time for sellers. Buyers are motivated, and buyers, we are seeing everything starting to trend away from sellers having all the power, and now it's a great time for you to negotiate on your dream home. So make sure you reach out. We can put a game plan together for buying or selling, and I can help you win this market. So if you enjoyed this video and you want to stay up to date on what's going on in real estate, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss what's going on.